check whether it's a problem.
Yes,
We'll have a check
yes,
whether it's a speed test. And this is, I mean, I know we're having a bit of a rake competition today, but that is sizable stuff on the AlphaTauri. And Pierre Gasly down to turn one.
So interesting to see Aston Martin pounding the laps in early. Same with AlphaTauri. They are the two cars that are the most dramatically different to their 2024 bears.
And it will be this decision that the teams will have already made about how many updates are you going to bring for 2021. Obviously, they're already looking at the 2022 car because it's a complete sea change in terms of the regulations. It's going to look completely different in a year's time, Formula One, but the balance about how you divert your resources, calling that right, is going to have a big impact on the Constructors' Championship.
It is, it is. Just looking at this AlphaTauri, there's a lot of excitement about AlphaTauri and where they could sort of end up this season. But there's also some big question marks and will be up and down the paddock again as to their token spend. The nose is dramatically different and we know is new. But they've also apparently taken Red Bull's front suspension from last year. And you can see from the mounting points of that front suspension, from how low it is, that it is indeed, I would believe, that Red Bull suspension from last year. And you see the dip on the nose there, how quickly it drops down. But in order to have that suspension setup, it was unique to Red Bull last year because they had a double bulkhead.
Yeah.
So if they've spent their tokens on the nose, how have they adapted the monocoque for a double bulkhead to allow for that suspension?
Shall I summarise the first 15 minutes or so of this commentary? Will wants to know where you've spent your tokens.
But no, because and also, and how have these? Now it's, you know, you can take your free upgrades from your big sister teams, as Aston Martin have done brilliantly. They've taken Mercedes rear and front suspension. They've taken over Mercedes' new gearbox as well. That's all a carryover that they're allowed to do from what was on the Mercedes in 2020 and pulled that into their 2021 car. That's all totally legal. AlphaTauri decided not to take Red Bull's rear suspension, but they have taken the front suspension. Fascinatingly. But in order to do that, either last year's monocoque had to have been already set to take that suspension because of the double bulkhead it needed, or they've somehow been able to adapt last year's monocoque without a token spend. How long's
your tech talk going to be?
I think today's tech talk is going to be about 3 hours long. And this is wonderful, wonderful that in a year where we were supposed to have parity and minimal changes from last year to this, there are so many questions about how these